The story begins by introducing the entertainment world where Atsumo's design skills are highly praised, with people exclaiming how cute and unique his creations are, making them feel like entirely new individuals. While others ask Akin, or Atsumokin, to design for them, Atsumo reflects on his role in this dazzling stage where brilliant talents shine. Then we see Atsumo explains that he has 7 sisters who are all top-tier entertainers in Japan, and his role has been to support them from behind the scenes, or so he believed. One day, as his 18th birthday approached, he received a message from his mother, Amana, inviting him to a celebratory family dinner. When Atsumo arrived home, he was met with a grim scene, a birthday cake adorned with skulls and a "Farewell Atsumo" message, while his mother, Amana, ominously stated it was time to celebrate. Amana then coldly informed Atsumo that from that day forward, he was no longer part of their family. Atsumo was utterly shocked and confused by this sudden declaration, initially wondering if it was some kind of cruel prank or a surprise. However, his sisters quickly dispelled any such hopes. Mitsuki, his 5th sister and an idol, lashed out, calling him a useless piece of trash and expressing her disgust at having him as a twin brother. Mika, the 3rd sister and a model, agreed, finding it hard to believe they were even related. Yachiru, the 7th sister and a YouTuber, remarked that even if it were a prank, no one would find it amusing. The eldest sister, Io, an actress, stated that only the elite belonged to the Amagasaki name and that half-breeds like Atsumo had no place in their house. Futaba, the 2nd sister, who is multi-talented, eagerly agreed with Yachiru. While Nana, the 6th sister and a singer, remained silent, Shiki, the 4th sister and a voice actress, found Io's words harsh yet amusing. Their mother, Amana, the CEO of the talent agency, confirmed their seriousness, callously stating that men are filthy pigs who should not exist within the Amagasaki family. Atsumo, in disbelief and shivering, pleaded with them to reconsider, acknowledging their hatred for him but desperately wanting to maintain their bond as he felt they were the only family he had left. He reminded them that despite being worthless, he had always done his best to support them. However, Mitsuki cruelly told him that his begging was pointless because they had never once considered him a member of their family. Amana explained that they had only kept Atsumo with them to fulfill one condition from their grandmother's will. To use her inheritance as funds for the agency, they had to take Atsumo into their home and look after him until he turned 18. She revealed that the supposed family bond was all for money, and there was never any love involved, calling Atsumo a slow, useless, and stupid child who failed to meet expectations and caused them much trouble. With a triumphant smile, Amana declared that his 18th birthday marked the end of this contractual obligation, and now they could finally celebrate getting rid of him, wishing him a happy birthday and farewell. Atsumo, heartbroken, remembered how he thought working hard to support them would one day lead to their acceptance, as he truly believed they were family. Resigned, he decided that was enough. Amana then demanded he leave his phone and all his work tools behind to prevent any leaks, which Atsumo understood, choosing not to burden them further and seeing this as his final act of support. As he prepared to leave, his sisters offered their parting words. Nana said, "Bye-bye." Mika expressed she was tired of waiting. Futaba cheered, "Good riddance." Io stated, "Finally." Yachiru told him not to come back. Shiki complained of being hungry, and Mitsuki called him trash and told him to get lost. Despite their cruelty, Atsumo offered a sad smile and thanked them for everything. His phone was then shown being destroyed, and he walked away from the grand mansion with his suitcase. As he departed, he bid farewell to his old life as Amagasaki Atsumo, acknowledging that on his 18th birthday, he was thrown away by the family that raised him. He reflected that at the time, he never imagined the chance encounter that followed would change his life. The story concludes with Atsumo, who lost his family and home and was only good at supporting others, finding a new path and beginning to enjoy an ordinary youth with a new group of friends, marking the start of his showbiz underdog rise to fame story. Atsumo found himself in a small room, reflecting on his desire for a normal life which now seemed impossible as he had no family, no home, and no money, marking the beginning of a rock-bottom existence after being kicked out by his family. Heading to a new world, shows Atsumo walking through the city with his luggage. The next morning, he was at Yumikoshi Academy High School, in the school chairman's office, informing them of his decision to drop out that day, a decision he found difficult to accept. Ashiya Asuka, an idol whom Atsumo had met a few times through work, was present and visibly upset, questioning why Atsumo, who had endured so much, should be expelled. Atsumo thanked Asuka for her concern, and she insisted he call her by her first name. Asuka is described as part of the top idol group * and the #1 idol in Japan, whose smile captivates everyone. Even if Atsumu was okay with leaving, Asuka couldn't stand it, and Atsumu was touched by her kindness, feeling that such a top idol was worrying about someone as insignificant as him. Ashiya Sakuya, Asuka's mother and the chairman of Yumekoshi Academy, tried to calm her daughter, noting that Atsumu seemed to have made up his mind. Sakuya then asked Atsumu if there was another reason for his decision to quit, as it didn't seem necessary from what she had heard. When Atsumu vaguely replied that there was no particular reason, Asuka playfully grabbed him, accusing him of messing with her. Atsumu then explained that he felt guilty attending Yumekoshi Academy, an integrated school known for nurturing entertainment talent, because he was leaving the industry and felt it would be disrespectful to the other students who were serious about their dreams. He admitted he had been so busy he barely attended school anyway. Asuka questioned how many people were in charge of supporting his 7 top-level celebrity sisters, assuming it must have been a large team handling tasks like production, management, makeup, PR, and video editing, reasoning that if he had a team taking shifts, he could have attended school properly. To Asuka's shock, Atsumu revealed that he was the only one managing everything, explaining that the workload kept piling up even before his sisters became famous and that he wasn't particularly skilled. Asuka couldn't believe he handled it all alone. Asuka then wondered why Atsumu was even there, and Sakuya revealed that Asuka had instructed school security to notify her if Atsumu ever showed up. Atsumu found Asuka's flustered reaction cute, which made her even more embarrassed, insisting he stop calling her cute even though she wasn't mad. Atsumu continued to find her adorable, and Sakuya, after clearing her throat, asked Atsumu one last thing: what he wanted to do after leaving the school, as he would now be living by his own choices. Atsumu confessed that he had always been too busy supporting his sisters and never had the chance to live like other kids his age, so he wanted to go to a normal school, study, make friends, maybe even get a girlfriend, and simply enjoy an ordinary youth. Hearing this, Sakuya smiled and said she knew the perfect school for him. A few hours later, after leaving Yumekoshi Academy, Atsumu arrived in an unfamiliar town, realizing this was where he would live from now on. The incredibly kind chairman Sakuya had arranged a transfer and even a dorm for him, offering to cover his rent and expenses for the time being, though Sakuya also mused that helping Atsumu might help Asuka too. Atsumu, grateful for this unexpected luck, planned to work part-time to pay her back. He was excited that the normal school life he had always dreamed of was finally starting. However, his hopeful mood was soon interrupted when he saw 2 menacing delinquents harassing a girl, making them stop and listen. Atsumu worried if the town wasn't safe and feared getting caught in a brawl, especially given his small stature, but quickly decided he had to help the girl in trouble. Atsumu is determined to help the girl in trouble, stepping forward and telling the delinquents to stop what they were doing. The delinquents, surprised by this pipsqueak, warned him to move or get hurt. Atsumu, however, was momentarily confused by the girl's calm demeanor, wondering if he was the weird one for intervening, but still believed she was in trouble. The girl assured him she was fine, but Atsumu, with a smile, insisted he wouldn't let her get hurt either, snapping his hoodie string with determination. One of the delinquents, enraged, threatened Atsumu, but Atsumu skillfully dodged his punch, then grabbed his arm and threw him using a kotegaeshi, an aikido technique. The delinquent was shocked that he was thrown without being hurt. Atsumu stretched and mentioned he knew a few other aikido techniques, then asked if the remaining delinquents still wanted to fight. The delinquents, intimidated, decided to retreat, with one yelling that Atsumu was lucky this time. Atsumu sighed in relief, admitting he was nervous as it had been ages since he was in a real fight, though he had trained countless times to protect his sisters. He explained that idols and celebrities are exposed to various dangers like stalkers, malicious perverts, and even killers, so he had trained in several martial arts, including Aikido, to protect his sisters from such threats, but that role was now gone. The girl Atsumu rescued then called out to him, and at that moment he truly saw her face for the first time. She thanked him very much for his help, and this marked their first meeting. Atsumu was stunned by her beauty, noticing Himeji Tsukiyo, occupation unknown, was as stunning as his sisters, if not more so, and her figure was amazing too. He felt she was like an angel and was glad he could help. Himeji, tearfully, said he really saved her life, though Atsumu thought she might be exaggerating, guessing she was just very scared. He then gently patted her head to comfort her, a gesture he used to do for his sisters, telling her not to worry as it was fine now. Himeji was flustered by the sudden pat, and Atsumu, realizing he had even stretched to reach her, felt embarrassed. They both then realized they hadn't introduced themselves. Himeji shyly introduced herself as Himeji Tsukiyo, and Atsumu thought her name was incredibly cute. He then introduced himself as Sakagawa Atsumu, explaining he was now using his dad's surname since he was kicked out of the Amasaki family the previous day. Just then, Atsumu's stomach growled loudly, and he sheepishly admitted he had only been drinking nutrient jelly for a while. Himeji, concerned, said that wasn't good and he might collapse. She then insisted on repaying his kindness for all he had done for her, to which Atsumu hesitantly agreed. Story continuous with a quick recap. Sakagawa Atsumu, 18, who had supported his 7 top-tier celebrity sisters, was banished by his family on his birthday. Kicked out and penniless, he received a transfer to a new school thanks to the school chairman's kindness and was supposed to be heading to his dorm. However, he was currently at a family restaurant, tearfully enjoying a delicious meal, as Himeji Tsukiyo was treating him as her way of thanking him. Atsumu felt overwhelmed by the feast, while Himeji shyly explained it was her way of expressing gratitude. Himeji thanked Atsumu again, explaining she was so scared earlier that she couldn't move when surrounded by the delinquents. Atsumu understood, saying anyone would be scared in that situation. Himeji then stated that Atsumu shouldn't be thanking her, but rather she should be thanking him. Atsumu modestly replied that he just did what anyone would do. As Atsumu ate, he noticed Himeji's striking appearance, insanely cute, tall, with an amazing figure, and an aura far from ordinary. Other patrons in the restaurant also noticed her, whispering about how pretty she was and wondering if she was an actress or a model, making Atsumu realize it was no wonder everyone was curious about such an incredible beauty. Soon, a waitress arrived with a limited edition monthly special sweet strawberry parfait for Himeji. Atsumu found it cute that Himeji ordered a parfait and thought she was very girlish and cute as she eagerly took pictures of it with her phone. Other customers also commented on the girl eating the limited edition parfait, finding it cute but also surprising given her mature appearance. Atsumu noticed Himeji suddenly seemed a bit down and, thinking she was worried about him taking pictures, assured her she could take as many as she wanted. Himeji, however, explained that it wasn't about the pictures. She felt embarrassed because even though people said she looked mature, she really liked cute things. Atsumu reassured her that it was great and there was nothing to be embarrassed about, thinking that a girl who is already beautiful and cute, and also likes cute things, is the ultimate combo. He told her she was absolutely wonderful just the way she was, making Himeji blush and thank him. Atsumu then commented that Himeji had a cute voice too, comparing it to a VTuber he liked. Himeji seemed a bit surprised by this, and Atsumu, feeling awkward and thinking praising girls was harder than he thought, excused himself to get a drink. While he was gone, Himeji seemed to ponder his earlier comment about being kicked out of his family and not having one anymore. When Atsumu returned, he joked about family restaurants not just being for families and how he worried he might get arrested since he didn't have a family, but quickly clarified he was genuinely worried. Himeji then seriously asked if it was true that he didn't have a family. Atsumu, flustered, realized normal people don't just say such things and apologized for it being too personal. Himeji, however, expressed her worry, especially since he had mentioned only having nutrient jelly. Atsumu then decided to tell Himeji his long story about what happened the previous day, about his mother and sisters, and everything up until then. Himeji listened, and by the end, she was in tears. Atsumu felt bad for making her cry and thought he was useless after all, but Himeji, clutching the nutrient jelly pack he had, insisted that it wasn't true that he was useless. She told him that he had helped her and that, back then, Sakagawa-kun was like her hero. The word used was knight. Atsumu, blushing, felt that telling her his story was definitely the right choice. After a while, they parted ways outside the restaurant, with Himeji hoping they could meet again, and Atsumu agreeing. As Atsumu walked towards his dorm with his luggage, he reflected on the many unexpected things that had happened that day and looked forward to his new school, wondering what lay ahead. He also kept thinking about Himeji's cute voice and wondered if she did some kind of voice-related work, hoping to ask her if they met again. Finally, in his new dorm room, Atsumu sat at his desk, ready to start his ordinary youth which he thought would go unnoticed. He received a notification on his phone for a new post. Thanks for waiting. The stream's about to start. The post was from Kagaya Hashizuki, a game streaming princess VTuber with 1.53 million subscribers. Kagaya Hashizuki announced that something wonderful had happened that day, but the details were a secret, though she might share them someday. She then prepared to start her Minecraft stream. The final panel revealed Himeji Tsukiyo at her computer setup, clicking her mouse, her occupation now clear, Japan's top VTuber. Atsumu still thinking a little about the night he was banished. He wonders how his family felt after kicking him out and if they felt even a little sad, knowing it's pointless to dwell on it, but the thoughts keep crossing his mind because, to him, they were his precious family. The scene then shifts to the Amagasaki household after Atsumo's banishment. Mitsuki, the fifth daughter and idol, gleefully recounts how hilarious Atsumo's face was when he got disowned, calling it the most pathetic face he's ever made. Futaba, the second daughter who is multi-talented, chimes in, saying it was way funnier than any prank show, especially since it wasn't even a prank. Shiki, the fourth daughter and voice actress, wishes she had recorded it, with Futaba agreeing it would have gone viral and calling Shiki a genius. Mika, the third daughter and a model, remarks that with Atsumo gone, the air feels much cleaner, prompting laughter from the others who find her overkill comment hilarious, saying she was really bottling up her feelings about Atsumo's mere existence making him filth. Mika then complains that the most annoying thing for her was Atsumo's dietary restrictions, as he would nitpick every little detail even though she never gained weight in her life, which was extremely unpleasant. Shiki then shares her grievance. For her, it was the spicy food ban. She fumes that a genius like her would supposedly hurt her throat just by eating spicy food and that jerk, Atsumo, was so annoying, but now she can eat all she wants. Mitsuki, up next, complains about the selfie posting restrictions, stating that every picture she posted had to go through Atsumo first, and he would make her retake them over and over, even though she looks good in any moment. Futaba, the multi-talented celeb, then declares that for her, it was unbelievable that she wasn't even allowed to use social media, but now she doesn't care. Their mother, Amana, then addresses the three quiet ones. Io, the first daughter and actress, states that in her case, she had restrictions on which roles she could take, and she once saw Atsumo turn down an offer from a famous director on the spot, which infuriated her sisters, who believed she could ace any role and would be in Hollywood by now without him. Nana, the sixth daughter and singer, preoccupied with her phone, says she doesn't really care, as 5-san, a mysterious Vocaloid producer, is her only true supporter. The others note Nana's 5-san worship and how his songs, which totally blew up, really matched Nana's voice, with Nana whispering that just getting to sing 5-san songs is enough for her to live on. Finally, Yichir, the seventh daughter and YouTuber, pouts and grumpily declares that she never wants Atsumo to come back, which makes the others note she might be even angrier than them. Amana, with a smirk, observes that it seems all of them suffered because of that man, but now that obstacle is finally gone. She tells her daughters that until now, all of their talents had been restricted, but from now on, they can unleash their talents as they please. The next day, somewhere in Tokyo, at the top floor of the Amagasaki agency, in the president's office, Kami Yuki, the president's secretary, confronts Amana. Yuki questions why Amana didn't consult her about kicking Atsumo out, calling it a major crisis for the agency. Amana dismisses it as something trivial not worth wasting time on. Yuki protests, stating that Atsumo handled almost all the behind-the-scenes work and that she is already swamped with her own duties and doesn't have the capacity to support Amana's daughters. Amana calmly tells Yuki not to get so worked up, as she has already arranged a replacement. Just then, Harima Rima, an intern from Yumakoshi Academy's support department, enters. Yuki is shocked that a student is the replacement, exclaiming that Atsumo supported 7 top-tier entertainers all by himself and there's no way a student like Rima can handle it. Amana, however, dismisses Atsumo as a failure and asserts that an elite like Rima will manage easily, telling Rima she's counting on her, to which Rima nervously agrees to do her best. As Rima sits down at a desk, determined to handle things somehow, Yuki internally despairs, believing there's no way this will work and that everything will fall apart, thinking, Atsumo-kun, we really need you. Students chattering about Himeji Tsukiyo, noting how cute she is and that they'd love to talk to her. One student asks another if they know the rumors about Himeji-san. It's explained that Himeji is tall, has a killer figure, is drop-dead gorgeous, but never speaks and just ignores people who try to talk to her, leading them to call her the Ice Queen. Thus, talking to Himeji-san is considered a pipe dream. Meanwhile, Atsumo wakes up with a gasp at 4:05 a.m., realizing he still hasn't gotten rid of the habits from his previous home. He introduces himself as Sakagawa Atsumo, a third-year high schooler who was kicked out on his birthday, May 5th. He's now living in the dorms of his new school thanks to an introduction from the chairman of his previous school. He notes that it's no surprise no one is around at this early hour. His former family was a showbiz dynasty, with 7 top-level entertainer sisters and his mother as the president of their entertainment agency. Due to his support work for all of them, he lived days with barely any sleep and still wakes up after only 3 to 4 hours. He then proceeds to make a perfect breakfast. While eating, Atsumu muses that living alone feels like this and wishes he had his confiscated smartphone to watch VTuber streams. He recalls Himeji Tsukiyo and how her voice sounded familiar. By 6:40 a.m., still super early, he hopes for a fun school life, feeling like time is moving slowly. In class, the teacher introduces the new transfer student, and Atsumu introduces himself as Sakagawa Atsumu, asking to be treated well. The other students whisper about him, some finding him handsome despite his bangs, others noting his high-pitched voice and calling him the small and cute type. Being the center of attention makes Atsumu a bit nervous, and the teacher seems a little irked. Atsumu is informed that he's attending Aaron Private High School, a very ordinary school compared to Yumikoshi Academy but still impressive with a decent number of students. The fact that he's from Yumikoshi is being kept secret to avoid unnecessary trouble, thanks to the chairman's consideration. Atsumu is assigned a seat in the very back, center row, and as he walks to his seat, he notices the intimidating student already sitting there. The student, Kongo Riki, a third-year high schooler, abruptly tells Atsumu not to get too cocky. Atsumu is envious of Kongo's large build, estimating him to be around 180 centimeters compared to his own 160 centimeters. Atsumu apologizes, asking if he did something to offend Kongo, but Kongo just glares, and Atsumu feels he can't get through to him. The teacher nervously asks them not to fight in class. Atsumu then notices Kongo's torn pants and asks if he's angry about them. Kongo is shocked, and Atsumu explains that he's pretty good at sewing for certain reasons and quickly fixed Kongo's pants when they passed each other, adding cute appliques, a tiger on the knee, a bee on the thigh, and a bear because Kongo is big. Atsumu then innocently asks if Kongo would have preferred an elephant san. Kongo, clearly embarrassed and with others seeing this as 100% good intentions from Atsumu, yells that it's called distressed fashion and that Atsumu shouldn't have fixed it, calling him an idiot. Atsumu apologizes, saying his bad, as he thought Kongo wanted them fixed since his legs were showing. The other students whisper that Kongo got hit back. Kongo, though flustered, seems to calm down, telling Atsumu he better remember this. Atsumu, relieved, then turns to his seat and is amazed to find Himeji Tsukiyo sitting next to him, realizing what an amazing coincidence it is to meet again there. Himeji, blushing, asks him to please treat her well from now on. Atsumu, smiling, replies that he will treat her well too. As Himeji speaks, her pen slips and twirls in the air. The entire class, including the teacher, is stunned into silence. They exclaim that it's the first time they've heard her voice and that it's cute, with some remarking that no one's ever seen the Ice Queen talk to a transfer student like this. Atsumu, poking his cheek, wonders if he did something wrong again, while Himeji looks on, and the class wonders what is going on with the Ice Queen. Atsumu recalls that when he was still living at the Amagasaki house, watching Hashizuki Kagaya-chan's energetic and cute streams was the only thing that kept him going amidst his busy days and his sister's harassment. He remembers feeling it was almost time for a stream, with Kagaya thanking her viewers for their comments. However, before he knew it, he became even busier and no longer had time for her streams, having to get back to work despite supportive comments from viewers like Yukike's 5000, Amasato Man, V, and Tororo. Atsumu recaps his story. His name is Sakagawa Atsumu. He was expelled from the Amagasaki household on his birthday, and after leaving his previous school, he was on his way to his transfer high school when he met the incredibly beautiful Himeji Tsukiyo. On his first day at the new school, they had a miraculous reunion. Atsumu is incredibly happy to sit next to Himeji-san, but he finds he can't concentrate in class because everyone is staring at them. He worries he's causing trouble for her and wonders if he shouldn't have transferred, also pondering why Himeji-san, who was so kind and even cried for him, is called the Ice Queen. He notices the many cute keychains on Himeji's bag that suit her, and then spots one particular keychain. As the class continues to stare, with some wondering what the transfer student is doing talking to the Ice Queen, Atsumu leans over to ask Himeji about the keychain. Realizing it would be better to talk somewhere quieter, he apologizes and says it's nothing, just as the bell rings. Himeji then leads him to the school rooftop, a place she sometimes comes to avoid people, and Atsumu thanks her, finding the place perfect. They decide to spend their lunch break together there. Atsumu then asks Himeji why exactly she's called the Ice Queen. Himeji explains it's a pretty embarrassing story. She is extremely shy and has trouble talking to people. So, when people talk to her she can't find the words, and it ends up looking like she's ignoring them. Rumors then began to spread that maybe she's some kind of young lady who can't talk to commoners, leading to her Ice Queen nickname. Atsumu understands it's because of her shyness, and Himeji admits that while it's the truth, she can't bring herself to admit it, feeling genuinely worried about this. Atsumu, seeing her distress, declares they should eat lunch together on the rooftop every day from now on to practice getting used to conversation. Himeji, surprised but happy, agrees. Atsumu thinks that while this won't really solve the problem, he wishes there was a good method. Atsumu then remarks that it's strange she can talk so much during streams but struggles in real life. Himeji gasps, and Atsumu, realizing he might have overstepped, quickly apologizes, saying he was just imagining things. Himeji, however, with wide, teary eyes, asks if it's really him. Atsumu, half doubting it himself, confirms that Himeji-san is indeed Hashizuki Kagaya-chan. Himeji, sulking, asks how he knew. Atsumu explains that they had a lot in common from their conversation at the family restaurant, very similar voices, and they both liked strawberry parfaits and cute things. He also mentions she let her guard down because she usually has no one to talk to. But what really struck him was the Chichikaiwa mascot keychain that appears in Kagaya-chan's streams, which he noticed on Himeji's bag in the classroom. Himeji explains that the keychain isn't merchandised and Kagaya-chan, referring to her VTuber persona, said she made it herself. She usually keeps it inside her bag but it makes her happy, and she let her guard down because the seat next to her is always empty. Atsumu then reveals that the keychain's name is V, and that it's an original character he designed a long time ago, though it's read as 5. Himeji is shocked, exclaiming, "Sakagawa-kun is V-san," and realizing he's one of her long-time listeners. Himeji then says she never thought there would be such a connection but is glad it was Sakagawa-kun. Atsumu then gets back to the main topic. Himeji wants to be able to talk in front of people. He wonders what's so different between real life and streaming. Himeji explains that maybe it's because when she's streaming, she's not herself. She's tall, has sharp eyes, and doesn't really like herself for being like that. She always wanted to be a smaller, cuter girl. Atsumu understands, realizing that from Himeji-san's point of view, Hashizuki Kagaya-chan is her ideal form. He then declares that in that case, there's only one thing he can do, then, let's make you cute. Himeji looks at him, surprised. Atsumu briefly recaps that he, Sakagawa Atsumu, was banished from his family on his birthday, but then on his first day at his new school, he reunited with Himeji Tsukiyo, a celebrity-level incredibly beautiful girl. As they spent their lunch break together, he learned about her troubles and declared, "Let's make you cute." After school, Atsumu and Himeji are at a large shopping facility. Atsumu is amazed by the place, exclaiming how convenient it is to have such a facility so close to school. Himeji mentions that you can find pretty much any kind of store there, and Atsumu thanks her for showing him around again. He is visibly excited, as this is his first time going somewhere with a friend after school. Himeji pouts a little at the word, friend. They head to a cosmetics shop called, at Make Tokyo Dash. Himeji seems a bit hesitant, but Atsumu, recalling he was in charge of his sister's makeup, confidently says he can help Himeji too, declaring that cuteness can be created and to leave it to him. Inside, they are greeted by a shop clerk, Yamaguchi Haruko. Haruko reflects that she's just an ordinary beauty consultant who came back to her hometown after getting married. She always wanted to be a makeup artist, but couldn't find fulfillment and was just working out of habit, feeling hopeless at sales and customer service, and her manager just told her to recommend popular items if she didn't know what to do. She feels nervous as Atsumu and Himeji enter. Atsumu asks Himeji if the atmosphere is too flashy for her. Haruko observes them, thinking they are an innocent and heartwarming high school couple, the boy being small and cute, and the girl tall and a beauty even without makeup, making Haruko feel envious. Atsumu asks Haruko if they can borrow some samples to try a little makeup, and Haruko, of course, agrees, directing them to the self-makeup corner. Haruko, thinking Atsumu is a polite boyfriend just accompanying Himeji, is surprised when Atsumu says he's borrowed some tools too and Himeji nervously asks him to please take care of her. Haruko, noting Atsumu didn't seem very knowledgeable about makeup, now thinks the boy is going to do the makeup and worries that the beautiful girl might end up ruined, a sentiment apparently shared by some makeup items themselves. However, Atsumu grabs the tools and applies makeup to Himeji with amazing dexterity and focus. Himeji is surprised by his skill. Haruko is astonished, observing how skilled and incredibly gentle Atsumu is when he touches Himeji, how delicate his work is, and how his choice of colors is perfect. She thinks he's just like a pro, choosing tools and applying makeup that matches Himeji's beautiful skin tone. Haruko revises her opinion, thinking this can't be called professional makeup, it's way too precious, more like refined art filled with gentle love. Atsumu finishes, and Himeji looks at her reflection, tearfully asking if this is really her. Atsumu asks how it is, explaining he tried some trending makeup. Himeji exclaims it's so cute and that it's like this isn't her at all, calling Atsumu amazing and incredible. Himeji joyfully declares that Atsumu can really transform her into the one she wants to be. Just then, Haruko and other girls in the store, who had been watching, surround Atsumu, asking how he did that makeup, where he learned it, and if he could do it for them too. Himeji, pouting slightly, grabs Atsumu's hand and declares, "We're in the middle of our date," pulling him away as they run off. Atsumu is flustered by the word date. Later, as they walk, Atsumu asks Himeji if she's speaking pretty normally now, and Himeji, smiling, says it's all thanks to Sakagawa-kun and that it truly feels similar to when she's talking as a VTuber. After that, they went to clothing stores, tried on lots of outfits that suited Himeji, went to the arcade, ate crepes, and enjoyed the shopping mall, managing to visit quite a lot of places. They also went back and properly bought the cosmetics. As they plan to go to a strawberry cake shop next, with Himeji exclaiming, "Again?" they are suddenly confronted by Kanguriki, the 180 centimeters applique-kun from class, and the two delinquents Atsumu had dealt with earlier, the convenience store twin boys. Atsumu wonders why they are here with Himeji-san. Meanwhile, back at the Amagasaki household, Mitsuki is impatiently telling someone in a car to hurry up and get in, glaring and saying they're late because of them, as the situation was beginning to head toward downfall.